She's real low.
City Commission meeting. Our invitation tonight, Angelica, would you do the invitation tonight?
No, I don't know.
She said yes.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I'm not prepared.
Okay, Todd, would you do the invocation?
Sure.
Okay, and Paul, would you lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay.
Okay, so everybody will stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we want to thank you for reaching out and holding our community during these tough times we have going on right now. And we want to thank you for the weather and everything that you've been providing to us. And I pray tonight that you give us wisdom in the decisions we make in leading our community. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Mayor Litchfield,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
here.
Commissioner Moya,
Here.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Here.
Commissioner Arias.
Here.
Our next is considerations of changes or deletions to the agenda. Are there any?
No. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as is.
Second it.
Okay, roll call please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. Next on the agenda is public comments. Angelica, do we have any?
Not that I know of. Mark?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay. And then next on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent agenda without discussion or vote. And we will be approving the May 28th special work session, May 28th regular commission meeting, June 4th special work session, and June 4th commission meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll
Do I
second.
have a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call please.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
okay. Next on the agenda is discussion regarding the reimbursement for Rock and Route 66 Festival. Mark, I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to bring this to the attention of the commission, just to keep the open communication between the Lodgers Tax Board and the City Commission. At the previous Lodgers Tax meeting, they voted unanimously to approve the $15,000 worth of reimbursement, even though that the event did not take place. I relayed to them during that meeting that the commission did not pass the additional $3,500 due to a lack of a second at that meeting. And I just wanted to update you and let you know, I'm not sure how things were done in the past, but I just wanted to be transparent, let the city commission know that it was approved. That way I could go ahead and move forward and issue the check for reimbursement.
15,000?
Yes, sir. So what happened
What are we
originally,
getting, aren't you supposed to get something in return for the spend of the taxpayer's dollar?
yes, sir, and they asked about that. I feel that the precedent was set, however, when they allowed Rawhide Days to get reimbursed as well, even though their event was canceled. And for that reason,
Wouldn't we be in violation of the antitrust situation with giving money without the concept of any?
it doesn't interfere with the anti-donation, and the reasoning is they actually invested money, they did advertising. They were hopeful that the event would still take place. They went forward until
So they,
May is when they cut off everything, once we found out the governor wasn't gonna allow us to have the event.
so you're saying that we have $15,000 from the lodgers tax that they advertise, 15,000 in advertising.
Yes, sir. And I have all the supporting documentation.
And most of the advertisement was where?
It was spread throughout different, there was the billboard where by the convention center on the west side of town. That billboard, I actually witnessed it, that was up. They did different ads and flyers and publications and magazines. They did things on social media, and I have supporting documentation for all their expenditures.
Quite a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Well, it's also, I think it was May 4th when we told them to stop spending money. And
Did they do
they
any other
stopped.
beyond that?
They did stop. Once we told them, May
Well, they-
4th was a stop date.
If I may, Mayor Pro Tem, they stopped as far as invoicing for it, but they did continue, and they're still continuing for the live streamed event they're gonna hold in place of the actual on-site event. But they did stop requesting any type of reimbursement after that date.
Is that anything with that live stream gonna be held here to here?
So the intent and the hope is restrictions will be kind of step back a little bit by that date and have what they're calling maybe some live viewing parties where more than just 5 people could actually go and view that and have a gathering
Not be here in town.
here in town. But they are live streaming, and there's been information gone out on social media and through email that they are planning to do this. Although they weren't able to get people down here right now, they are trying to do what they can to at least provide something to that live streamed concert event.
This is interesting, because actually, we're looking, I understand the whole idea, but at the same time, I think they should have, they're still doing it, they're still charging for it right now, aren't they?
They're not still charging for it right now. Like I said, they ceased charging and providing any invoicing after May 4th when we asked them to stop doing such. But they are still promoting for this live stream event. And even after that May 4th, they were still promoting in hopes that the governor would allow for events. However, it wasn't feasible.
So what is their plan if the governor does not lift restrictions by that time?
They're still gonna have their live stream. It's just we may not be able to gather in larger groups to view it. It's still gonna be viewable.
And that'll still be done here.
No, so their live concert's gonna take place off-site, I'm assuming in Georgia where they're located, but it's gonna be live streamed nationwide to everybody, whoever.
Yeah, okay, but then how is Tucumcari play in?
Well, and I think they're not doing this, that it's for the benefit of Tucumcari, they're just doing this. This isn't to justify anything other than just like Rawhide had gone in and started spending money, and it would break them if we just didn't reimburse, even though they were planning
No, I
on doing that.
understand.
But everything they're doing right now is, trying to keep the wheels still turning for next year. They're not billing us, they just haven't let up, they're still going. As of, like we said, May 4th is when we told them, hey, you know what, we're gonna have to cancel the event. They have spent a lot of money, you're within 2 months of a rather large event. So, and that's why Lodgers Tax felt that at least up to that point, as long as their invoices and their receipts date before May 4th, that if, you know, the right thing to do, we should reimburse them.
How much was the total allocation? 23?
The total allocation was 20,000. So last year during the Lodgers Tax meeting where they requested the funds, they requested 23,500. Lodgers Tax or commission, I don't remember who exactly, only allowed 20,000 of that.
Mhm.
So they came back a couple of meetings ago to Lodgers Tax and asked for the additional 3,500, which then I brought before the city commission, and it died due to a lack of a second. So I relayed that information back to them. So they went and reimbursed the 15,000, because originally at this most current meeting, they're asking for 18,500. I told them, no. I said, the most you've been authorized for is 15,000. So they cut it back to the 15,000 request, and Lodgers Tax Board approved it.
Okay.
I still want to hear the answer though to Commissioner Moya's question of how does, if they have to film from Georgia, how is Tucumcari playing in on this? Other than our money funding the event that's happening in another state.
So what they're claiming is trying to keep the steam and the momentum and get ready for next year. They've already offered things out. I know it's not for the city, but they've offered to the sponsors that paid in this year that they're gonna roll that over to next year. They won't have to increase sponsorship and pay again. But as far as what we're getting out of this, I mean, we're getting the PR and they'll throw out Tim Carey's name. Other than that, I mean, obviously we're not putting heads in beds. We're not getting people in restaurants. But I'm hoping we could at least have the restrictions to a place where we could have gathering viewing parties where maybe we can get people that will drive, say, to the theater to go watch.
And actually, my personal opinion, I think it's a good olive branch or olive branch for, we are reimbursing them a rather large amount of money. And for them to even do the live stream, I think is, they're not asking for anything for it. This was kind of their, we still want to do something for Tucumcari type deal.
So it's our consolation prize.
What do we do? If we don't reimburse them, we're asking him to put a lot of money, just like we would have done, and we did it for one, and I strongly believe you do it for one, you do it for all. And you can't ask them to put money out, and they didn't cancel they would have still gone through with this. It wasn't them that canceled it, and that's what, why I feel.
Well, I agree, and I think the difference between Rocky Route 66 and Rawhide is the fact that Rawhide is a not-for-profit, whereas this group is for-profit. They keep the profits.
That's right.
Yeah.
The only thing we get are the liquor sales we get during the day, the people who come into town, but the biggest piece of the pie is not ours.
Well, and the whole point is that lodgers tax they're the ones that are requesting, they're the ones that voted for this. We just brought it up for discussion.
Yeah.
So that everybody knows what's going on. So, if this is what lodgers tax voted to do, then, I think we need to go with them and support lodgers tax.
We can do it, we did it for Rawhide. I can understand, and I can understand Commissioner Arias' point, is that one is a nonprofit, one's a profit. But I really, if it happens next year, I don't think we're gonna be so kind. Because, we have, at the end of the day, the commission is responsible for the spending of the money that is entrusted to the people. So I guess we can, but we're not gonna get in trouble with the auditors or anything like that, are we? Because actually, we did not receive the event.
No, sir, because that's put forward for promotional use, and that's what they spent the funds on, and I have the supporting documentation where they use it for promotional use and advertising.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention and letting us at least have our say on it. I appreciate that.
So I would go ahead and make, I'm sorry.
It's just a discussion.
We're on the discussion on this, because it's not a voting item, it's
Okay.
just a discussion.
But I would go ahead and say that next year we hope to have, the understanding that we can make a mistake once, but twice, it's a different story. Because at the end of the day, we have to answer for that
We
money.
have the event.
Yeah.
And I completely support that and agree with that. I think if we do that, then we set the precedent at the beginning, it's the same for all.
Okay.
Right. Okay, next on the agenda is bids and contracts. Approval of the Tucumcari Hoover Tank Engineering Agreement for a technical memo.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We're getting moving on the Hoover Tank project. We've awarded the engineering services, and now we've received an agreement from the engineer to get this project started. Our PER is a little bit outdated, and in order to get the engineering going on it, we need to do a technical memo to update the PER for this project. So Stantec is our engineer on it, and they've provided an agreement and proposal for $13,026.50 to get started on the beginning of the engineering work, which is the technical memo. The total project cost for this project is $1.5 million, with $1,125,000 of that being grant money and $375,000 being loaned with the NMFA. So at this time, I'd like to ask for your approval of the Stantec agreement to do the technical memo for the Hoover Tank project.
Well,
Is there any Can I ask, anyone have any questions for,
Oh.
Ralph Lopez?
No, this is a Hoover tank that was this the one we had a little, and I brought it before, the easement problem that we're having?
There's no easement problem, there's
We
just
had-
not,
We got it straightened out,
there's not an easement, there wasn't an existing easement that we could find, but it's scheduled in the
but it was
engineering
brought to our
portion of it.
attention at one time,
Yes,
and that's been solved.
it's in the process, the engineers will do the easement for the line when they start doing
Now,
the
the
engineering.
landowner, would you think, will work with us on it?
They have been, yes, sir,
They're good, I know they're good people, but at the same time, this is a lot of money,
yes, sir, we've been bringing them
We don't
along with
have
us the whole
access to
time,
it,
so,
then we're losing a lot.
yes, sir.
And it's good that it's a grant, so, that's the only way we can operate.
Madam Mayor, if I may, there was an acronym you used, PER?
Say
What was the
again?
acronym that you used?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's preliminary engineering report. We do them for wastewater, water, and other, and overall city utilities. They're good for 5 years, and ours, we did one, I can't remember how old the other one is. It's a little outdated. We're in the process of looking for funding right now to redo several of our PERs and other reports like that. But in the meantime, NMFA allows us to just do a technical memo and update it specific to this project here. So that's the first phase of the engineering. They'll approve that. That'll get us lined out on how the engineering is gonna go. One of the first things we have to do is that easement. So, but they have to do the design and lay out where the line's gonna go before we can lay out the easement for it. So this is just the first step. Engineering will be in 3 parts on this one. They'll have this PER update, then they'll have the design, and then they actually do a separate agreement for the construction portion of it anymore. They've seemed like they've broken down all of our projects that way for engineering now, so.
Are we buying the easement or are we acquiring?
There's never been any talk of money. It's just, it's gonna be parallel to the existing line. So
Yeah.
we're just
Well,
establishing it for future. So.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion? I would entertain a motion to approve the Secretary Hoover Dam engineering agreement for a technical memo.
I make a motion that we do the approval of the engineer for technical. And that's it.
I'll second the
motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, seconded, Mayor?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Pianella.
Yes.
Alright, next on the agenda is approval of the Second Street construction agreement with J&H Services Inc. Ralph, are you doing that one also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
At the last special meeting, we did a recommendation of award to J&H Construction for the base bid for this project, to start the construction on it. We recommended award of just the base bid on this project for the amount of $1,775,512.34. On tonight's agenda, we have the actual agreement that follows that up for it. Actually, they mailed their originals, and I believe the clerk has them now that we can sign if it's approved. The funding source on this one is several. It's NMDOT, SAP, which is the one that we're really trying to rush this for in order to spend that money before it expires. And there's also Great Blocks funding in it. We have a little bit of a cushion with this awarding the base bid. We didn't have enough to award on the alternates on it, but they are negotiable at this point. Our main goal now is just to get it into construction so we can spend up some of that money that's about to time out. So given that, I'd like to ask for your approval of this agreement.
So actually, it expires the 30th, right? So
That's what I
you'll be able-
understand, yeah.
with Approval, you'll be able to pay the engineers at it?
We actually have to have it invoiced and spend the money prior to that.
Madam Mayor, if I may,
any other discussion?
yes, Madam Mayor, if I may, real quick, with this, I know Ralphie put in a lot of hours with this, and I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank New Mexico Main Street for their handsome grant for this project.
Okay, anything else? I entertain a motion to approve the Second Street construction agreement with J&H Services.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Second Street construction agreement with J&H Services.
I'll second.
Is there,
I'll second.
okay, roll call please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanova,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda, approval of tax order 6 for the Tucumcari Airport taxiways A and B. Ralph, you're up again.
Mayor and Commissioners, we have a general services agreement with Bohannon Houston Engineering to do our engineering work for the airport. We were awarded that, well, it wasn't a hard number, and the number actually will be shown in the next contract that we have for a total contract amount for $3,111,111 to work on the airport taxiways. This task order is like our agreement inside of the general services agreement for the airport. And it allows us to it allows the engineer to get started on the actual design for that project. This one is in the amount, the engineering task orders in the amount of $409,832 for the design of the taxiways. This follows the PER that we already did for that. And the agreement that we have on the next item numbers actually sets the amount for the federal portion of this. The total amount is still kind of in flux, but the agreement that we're going to do next actually sets that amount. And once it's approved, we can actually draw down on the money we've spent so far. But this one gets the engineering started for that project. And this one was also kind of in a big rush because we got a late start on it, mainly because the FAA was kind of late getting their stuff out to us. So we have to keep this one moving along. And this one's 100% grant amount. It's 90% FAA and 10% state with zero matching from the city. So it's all grant for this project to improve the taxiways. And this task order 6, I'd like to ask for your approval to get that started.
Okay, any discussion?
On this one, will it be allowing more larger planes to be able to land there or what?
No, sir, it's actually, these are the little roads that connect from the airport back to the terminal building. And they're outdated. They were actually oversized when the airport was built. These are actually going to be just a little bit narrower. The engineer and the PER took into account the number of flights that we have in and out of the airport and a bunch of other criteria they use to size them. And they're just rough. The problem with airplanes is you can't have loose dirt and rocks and stuff on the taxiways because the engines and the fans pull them in, the blades pull them in.
Yeah.
So they got to be real clean. And ours are just getting where the edges are chipping off and they're deteriorating real bad. So FAA actually came out there and based on our PER that we did, they prioritized the work that we need done. And they're also following this grant up. We haven't been awarded yet, but with another grant to actually reseal the 311 runway. And this is the first part. And they have their own priority report, I guess, like our ICIP. They just call it a CIP. And
It's good that we're at least keeping up the maintenance on it.
yes, sir. Yeah, we have
Not to
to.
deteriorate their history.
It's a safety issue more than anything. So.
Okay, any other discussion? I'd entertain a motion to approve, task order number 6, for the Tucumcari Airport taxiways A and B.
I'll make a motion that we approve task order 6 for the Tucumcari Airport taxiways A and B.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanova,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. Okay, next is the FAA agreement for Tucumcari Airport improvement 2020 reconstruct taxiway A and B.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the actual agreement that follows up, that goes along with the task order that we just did. This actually finally sets our budget based on the bids that we received for this project. FAA doesn't commit they give us a total amount that we're allowed up to, but they don't actually set the grant amount until we get an agreement with the contractor, which we just did, and the engineering funds that we just approved a minute ago. So this is the actual FAA agreement for the federal funding for that airport project. It's in the total amount of $3,111,111, and approval of this sets that number and also allows us to draw down on the funds that we've spent so far on this project, primarily for engineering work, but a few other little things. So this is the one that actually gets the project going based on the federal funding. So I'd like to ask for your approval.
Any discussion on this one? And I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with the FFA for Tuncumcari Airport Improvements 2020 Reconstruction Taxiway A and B.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis seconded it.
Okay, all right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
All right, next is approval of Tuncumcari Airport Improvement 2020. Reconstruct taxiway A and B, recommendation of award for construction services.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the recommendation of award for the construction portion of this. We received bids for this project, I believe 2 weeks ago, and Mountain States Construction was the low apparent bidder for it. They have been checked and approved, and the engineer as well as the city would like to recommend that they be awarded this construction service. The total amount of the award on this one is based on their base bid, additive alternate 1, and a negotiable portion of additive alternate 2 for the amount of $2,510,000 and $264,000. Excuse me, $2,510,264. And this is also kind of a rush deal too, but it gets us going on that taxiway project as far as starting construction. So at this time, I'd like to ask for your approval.
Well, sounds like
Any
the airport
questions
is,
on this one?
sounds like the airport is a good economic development out there. They're the only one that has money. I move that we go ahead and approve this, no discussion.
I'll
Do
second
I
it.
have a-
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're gonna have a brand new airport.
Once the airport just got a $20,000 grant from, Will Constance Williams, let me know that. I can't remember, Mark, where was it from?
It's the CARES Act.
Right, yeah. So, yay for the airport. Next under new business is approval of the contract 21-64-400-0086 with New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department for FCP and FCP programs, and this would be Clara Ray.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Yes, this is the contract for us to continue operating the foster grandparent and senior companion program for another year. And it's in the amount of $103,000, $103,062. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I respectfully request your approval. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for her? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve this contract.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services for the foster grandparent program and senior companion programs.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva.
Yes.
Next on the, you're quite welcome. Next on the agenda is approval of the fiscal year 21 beautification grant agreement. Alex Villanueva, I think you're going to present this.
Yes, Mayor. Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. So this is the FY21 New Mexico Clean and Beautiful Grant. The award amount is for $11,885,000. 25% of it is in kind from the cleanups and the donated goods and services. The grant year ends on June 30th, 2021. Final reimbursement is due no later than June 15th, 2021, sorry.
Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
So I have goal 1 is for 5,200 to end littering. Goal 3 is 1,600 to beautify the communities. Goal 4 is $5,000 to empower youth. And goal 5 is for $55 for the Keep America Beautiful dues. And I ask for your approval.
Okay. Any questions?
I quite don't understand this.
Madam Mayor, I can make a motion that we approve the fiscal year 21 beautification grant agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
Is the city manager's report? Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing I'd like to do is, I promised I'd do this today. I had a citizen call me, Mr. Pacheco called me in regards to the houseboat.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he wanted to thank the city for getting it moved out of the way and it's a little bit safer behind the building. But he also wanted to state that he'd like to see something done to the person that abandoned it. And we had a brief conversation. I told him we'll be looking into it. However, the person that abandoned it is different from the individual we have on the title. So we're going to go back and do some research, look into it, and do what we can to make sure the responsible parties being held responsible to take care of that. But I just wanted to get that out. I told him I'd say that tonight. Next thing.
Actually, whoever's on the title is liable and responsible because that's a legal owner.
Yes, sir. And like I said, we'll be working on that. We'll look into it.
That's his problem with the other guy who abandoned.
I agree. So the next thing is I wanted to finish on a positive note for the city manager's report. So this week, myself, Rochelle, and Shannon met with Taken Care General Insurance, and I'm happy to announce that our workman's comp insurance will be $30,000 less than it was this year. And a lot of, so that's great news. A lot of that credit comes to city staff doing what we need to take care of business and minimizing claims. So new policies that are being implemented. So I'm really happy to announce that's a good chunk of money, and that'll be coming at a later date, possibly next commission meeting, to approve that contract, to go ahead and move forward with it and sign off on it and get our invoice paid off on that. And last but not least, I'd like to get back into the swing of things. The city has an awards nomination process for the employee of the quarter, and due to COVID and a lot of other issues, it's been neglected and kind of put to the side. But I think we're at a point now where you need to recognize the hardworking employees. They were nominated, they go through selection process, and tonight I'd like to hand out 2 awards. The first is for the employee of the fourth quarter of last year. And this person is always willing to give a helping hand. He goes out of his way to help when asked. He is responsible for obtaining many grants and the funding for the city of Tucumcari. He exceeds expectation above and beyond what you could imagine. He is dedicated to his work and applies his various skills, which adds to the value of this office. He is always willing to give a helping hand and will go out of his way to do so. This person presents his various projects with knowledge and respect to the city commission and represents the city in a professional manner. He is very knowledgeable and carries that through his projects. He takes on additional responsibilities as needed, especially when the department head is out, and does so without complaint or desire for a pat on the back. He has managed many grants for the city, and he is a great asset to the city as well. He is very knowledgeable and carries that through his projects. He takes on additional responsibility as needed and has been a great asset to the city. At this time, I'd like to present the employee of the fourth quarter to Mr. Ralph Lopez. Ralph, appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Ralph, for all you did.
It was pretty much your meeting tonight.
Thank you all.
There's not very many times you can say it's all about you, Ralph, but today it's all about you.
If it wasn't evident tonight, it shows it was pretty much the entire agenda was thanks to Ralph and his hard work. As pointed out earlier in the meeting, he has put in a lot of extra hours and a lot of work for the Second Street project, making sure we don't lose any funds. And also with the FAA grant for out at the airport. Anytime you have federal funds attached, those are difficult projects to handle. There's a lot more loopholes, a lot more extra documentation, reporting. It's very hard. So I thank Ralph for his expertise and his hard work he does for the city. The next award I have, the individual couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. This is for the first quarter of this calendar year. This individual helps seniors with everything from getting help through LIHEAP, Commodities, ECHO, Chase, or other programs to help with food, heating, doctor appointments, and prescriptions. She is always filling in for other employees when shorthanded while still doing her work. She never complains and is always willing to help everyone. The seniors of our community enjoy this person's humor and always looks forward to having her helping them in the dining room. If it weren't for this individual, many of our seniors would be doing without food, medication, or doctor appointments. Unfortunately, this individual is unable to be here, but the employee of the quarter for the first quarter of 2020 goes to Ms. Patty Austin from Senior Center. And with that, Mayor, that concludes my manager's minute, or my manager's report.
Couple minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all?
Yes, ma'am.
Good job. All right, next is items from commissioners. Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, we'll start with you.
Thank you. First, I want to say welcome back, Madam Mayor. Good to see that you're going in the right direction and getting better.
Thank you.
I want to concur with Mr. Pacheco. We've got enough information to try to lock this down and get this over with. And that's another item that sending a letter, just if we need to send them a citation, let's send them a citation. We've got 2 names. Let's send them both one if we have to, but somebody's going to show up. Anybody sign up for the sign ordinance?
No, sir.
Okay. Where are we at on getting information on those properties I mentioned and the citations that we're going to be sending out for?
Still working on it.
Okay. I don't want us to lose sight of the ordinances that we had started to review and start, I know we've had a lot of stuff hit us all at once over the last couple of months, but I think it's very important. And as we noticed when we sat down at that one work session, that we have a lot of ordinances that overlap, and it kind of leads to confusion to not just the citizens, but to us, the commissioners. So I don't, as we get these things through and as we're moving forward with bringing in, interviewing and hiring a new city manager, I think we need to stay focused on our jobs as to review these ordinances and either clarify them or, change them as needed. Congratulations, Ralph. You do a wonderful job.
Thank
We
you, Tom.
appreciate the work you do. And congratulations to Patty Cakes if she's listening. Everybody stay safe out there. Practice what you need to practice to ensure we've got a really good record with the COVID-19. Let's keep it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We actually got one case subtracted.
I know, we were going in the other direction. So, appreciate that.
Okay, is that on?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Thank you, Mayor. So first, Mr. Lopez, congratulations. Ms. Austin, congratulations to you as well. And we know you, along with everyone else, you all work very hard for the city of Tucumcari, and it's evident among your peers. Thank you. I've had several complaints over the last couple of days, about a department. I have already spoken with the city manager, but I think it is important that the citizens and the constituents know that these complaints are being taken seriously, and that's why I'm bringing it up now. I'm not gonna mention anything, but the city manager knows where it's coming from. I do also want to let the commission know, I've also received numerous complaints, again, about our, water practices and going after past due bills. I have reached out to our PRC rep, Commissioner Byrd, just to gain some insight, and see where we can go with that, and see if there's any alterations we can make to this policy and maybe be a little bit more fair. As soon as I get information on that, I will be more than happy to share that with you all. Tomorrow morning, I will be joining other Eastern New Mexico communities in Clovis in regards to the U Lake Water Authority Board. Our biggest things we are gaining, we're going to be looking at getting a new chairman, like I mentioned before, as well as we'll be looking at legal services who we'll be using in the future. So an update at the next commission meeting will be coming on that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, and good luck at your meeting tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Commissioner Moya.
I don't have much today other than a couple, I think I have maybe 2-3 residents that complain, but are we doing the advertising? I had Mr. Grego who called me and was wondering about the city hall opening, and I explained to him that it was from 10 till 2. Are we advertising it anywhere or letting the public know about it?
It's posted on the doors, but I can, after this meeting, I'll post it on Facebook. That's the best we can do, and then push it out to the radio station and maybe the newspaper.
Okay, because he said he came down, and I said, well, what time? He came earlier, and I said, no, we're not going to regular hours. It'll be from 10 to 2, and I said, if you want to go at that time, we'll help you, or make a special appointment if you need it for the purpose of, you can make that particular time. He was content with it.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And it is posted on the door. It has been posted, so it's on there.
The other thing is, I did get a complaint about, I guess, the broom cone factory area. I think the weeds are getting a little high there, and people are just a little complaining about it.
To let you know, Commissioner Duplantis and I were there the other day, and we've discussed that. Our portion, the city's portion, we have taken care of and mowed, and maybe time to mow it again, but the area that is of most concern is actually within the property behind the fence. It's quite tall. That is the obligation of a gentleman that leases that. I've reached out to Mr. Vanderpool, who has the contact information for that gentleman. He has been reaching out to him to please ask him to mow that.
Actually, I went over there and I looked at the parking lot, does have to hide weeds.
Which I guess the parking lot is part of the facility. That is the gentleman's obligation. The city's obligation is further towards the west, that lot to the west. So it may be due again, but.
But if it's our parking lot, I know we have a gentleman obligation, but we also have an obligation to the citizens. That if you can't take care of it, we have to take care of it, because it is still legally ours.
Yes, sir, I can look into that.
The other thing is, I had a couple of people that talked to me about economics and what was the city doing as far as economics. I explained to them that we're working very diligent on it, and we're coming up with some ideas. And certainly this year, we're looking at what we're gonna want with our funding for economic development. So they were content with it. That was a lady, it was actually a lady from District 2. The other thing is, that's about it on that. I do have some good news. I think we always like to brag of our students that graduate from Tucumcari High or from the Quake County area. I do like to say that Jonas Moya has been named Executive Director of the Calaveras Association, and he's 28 or 29, somewhere in the area, very young. And he will be taking that position next month as the Executive Director for the Calaveras Association, so.
Congratulations.
Huh?
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of it, because I was one of the ones that said, Hijito, you might not be so disappointed, but they're very motivated. We do produce some motivated kids in our area. So that's it, and that's all I have. And I do want to congratulate Ralph and Patty Is that right? I can only say the name.
Patty cake.
Okay, there you go. On there, no water, thank you.
Is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, Commissioner Villanueva.
Yes, I had a few complaints today about potholes, of course. I don't know what's going on, you know anything more?
Crews have been busy. They've been out there filling them. I know they're working in the area of, it was Park or Grove. I know it was somewhere on the east side of town. And work orders as they come up. My best suggestion is to the individuals complaining, they could either reach out to me or call the ladies up front to fill out a work order. And I kind of explained this in the past. What happens is it goes into the queue in the system and it's first come, first served. And they work their way through it. And I understand, I mean, they're everywhere. But we'll do the best we can to get
We
them.
can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you another question. Did you check on that tree on that road that I was telling you about the stop sign?
I did. I reached out and asked the streets department to look at it. And since it was a fairly nice tree, we don't want to just go in there and chop it up. He referred it to code enforcement, so code enforcement's working on it now to try to get the
Maybe lower the
individual
stop sign a little bit more down or something?
I know
I
there's
know
certain,
there has to be a certain height.
there's certain regulation where they have to be a certain height. So to me, I could check in and see where they're at on the code enforcement side of it. But like I said, it was referred to code enforcement. They are looking into it.
Okay, no, about Rock Island or speeders. I know you said you talked to the chief.
I had talked to him with he claimed there was limited amount of patrolmen and there's a large city to take care of, so he'd add it to the list. And I think maybe worst case scenario, if they're shorthanded, maybe I could reach out to the county and see if they'd be willing to help out on some of those troubled areas.
Commissioner Villanueva, if I may, I mean, Rock Island is primarily a residential area. What's it gonna take is these speeders to hit a child and then we take control of it? I understand there is a city and there is limited personnel.
Is there a
but-
way we could put speed bumps? I know.
So that goes into a whole process of, it gets expensive. We have to get engineers and do traffic studies, making sure it's not impeding emergency routes, and there's a whole list of things, and it's costly. One thing I've thought about, and I don't know if Ralph, but actually probably better than I do, if we need a traffic study, I don't think so, to maybe even just install signage that slow kids playing there or something along that line. That's a quicker, less expensive solution that hopefully would help. I'm not saying it would resolve.
Traffic fines double.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Well,
to start issuing citations would be the first step, and
That'd
then
have to be like in a work zone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause I know on the south side of Rock Island, there are several dips. That's not deterring them. I saw someone take one of those things and went a couple feet in the air.
I just wanna thank Mr. Lopez and, what is it, Patty Cake. And, I wanna thank all the employees of the city. I heard, Tomas is doing pretty good, but the cemetery's looking a lot better.
things are coming along. We actually, now that you mentioned it, have received materials to re-roof the office out there at the cemetery. And also looking into fixing the pump. They are watering manually as well at some of the other parks until we get the parts in to fix the leaks. And one of the issues out in the cemetery is the pump. So as soon as we can get the gentleman out here, he was supposed to be here, I believe, last week, or he canceled last week and was supposed to be here this week and couldn't make it. But things are improving a little bit at a time. We had a water leak. We're losing quite a bit of water, thankfully. We found that the water guys were out there, resolved it, and things are going good again. So, I mean, it's a group effort. I never like to forget and not make it look like we don't appreciate all of our employees, but honestly, top to bottom, all of our city employees have been stepping up and doing a great job.
Just wanna say, hope Ms. Litchfield gets better. And, thank the listeners. That's it.
Right, and thank you everyone for tuning in tonight and listening, and It was nice to be back at a real meeting. I tried to listen to it on the radio for a couple of times, and on the YouTube and everything, but I just wasn't able to. So anyway, I do thank you, Ralph Lopez and Patty Austin. You both do a fantastic job, and we saw tonight just how much Ralph does. And I do appreciate all the rest of the employees of the city. I do know that some of my neighbors had put in a work order on Evans Street, and they were out here a couple of weeks ago, filling all those holes, and so I appreciate that too, because one of them was right behind my garage. So, thank you for my neighbors for doing that. But anyway, so just call the front office and give them your name and tell them the addresses, and they will get to it as soon as possible. Thank you again for everyone coming. Thank you, Mark, for doing your job. Todd, thank you for pitching in for me. This was a scary little bacterial virus I had. So, anyway, I'm glad I'm on the uphill side, ready to get back to work. So I hope everybody has a good weekend, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Well.